Daesh, also known as ISIS, self-proclaimed as the Islamic State, aimed to control territory from Syria in the west to Afghanistan in the east in recent years. They seized the opportunity during the Arab Spring, which was a series of anti-autocratic uprisings to establish their desired government and reshape the borders of Western Asia, the Middle East. Contrary to expectations, this wave of rebellion unexpectedly emerged in Syria, which was part of the Palestinian resistance movement. Here I would like to briefly discuss the presence of Islam and its role in the ideology of Daesh. Daesh and Jihad. Daesh heavily emphasized the concept of jihad in Islam. They used jihad as a justification for beheading children, women, and enemy soldiers, a well-known example being Mohsen Hojaji, an Iranian volunteer who went to Syria to fight Daesh. They also burned people alive, as in the case of Maaz al-Khazazbeh, a Jordanian pilot. Another form of self-styled jihad they practiced was jihad al-nikah, where women were exploited under the guise of marriage by multiple men. Suicide bombings were also a tactic used to attack innocent civilians, both young and old, in cities and villages. Killing in Islam. Muslims adhere strictly to the explicit text or interpretations derived from the Quran. Killing is explicitly forbidden in the Quran. Here are some relevant verses. Whoever kills a soul unless for a soul or for corruption in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. Say, "Come, I will recite what your Lord has prohibited to you. Do not kill your children out of poverty. And do not kill the soul which God has forbidden, except by right. And do not kill the soul which God has forbidden, except by right." So they set out, until when they met a boy, he killed him. Said, "Have you killed a pure soul for other than a soul? You have certainly done a deplorable thing. And those who do not kill the soul, which God has forbidden, except by right, and whoever does this shall face the punishment. We decreed upon the children of Israel that whoever kills a soul, unless for a soul, or for corruption in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. O you who have believed, prescribed for you is legal retribution for those murdered. The free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. And when we took your covenant, do not shed your blood or evict one another from your homes, but then you are those who are killing one another. And it is not for a believer to kill a believer except by mistake. And whoever kills a believer by mistake, then the freeing of a believing slave and a compensation payment presented to the deceased's family. These verses clearly prohibit killing. So what is jihad? Jihad means striving or struggling to the best of one's ability. Jihad in the path of God is mentioned in Islam, with various verses and examples from the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad available. For instance, he who seeks the bounty of God by working to support his family is greater in reward than the one who fights in the path of God. According to Islamic teachings, there are three types of jihad involving fighting: initiating jihad, defensive jihad, and jihad against oneself. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Whoever hears a man calling, 'O Muslims,' and does not respond to him, he is not a Muslim." Defensive jihad occurs when someone invades your property or land, compelling you to defend yourself. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, "The Prophet sent a troop for combat, and when they returned, he said, 'Welcome to those who have done the small jihad and upon whom the greater jihad is still incumbent.'" They asked, "What is the greater jihad?" He replied, "The jihad against oneself." Jihad against oneself includes resisting overindulgence and adhering to ethical and interpersonal conduct. When looking at the Quran, you might encounter verses like, "Fight in the way of God those who fight you but do not transgress." Indeed, God does not like transgressors. This verse, referring to not transgressing, hints at minimizing violence. The verse refers to the early days of Islam when opponents of the Prophet Muhammad attacked him, compelling him to defend himself with armed forces due to the people's inclination toward him. Another critical question is, who has the authority to declare jihad? This authority rests with the Prophet Muhammad and, in his absence, his successor. Thus, in Islam, fighting is primarily defensive, not offensive. It should not harm the innocent and does not seek excessive killing or destruction. Jihad al-Nikah. Regarding Jihad al-Nikah, this was one of Daesh's most heinous acts, contradicting the clear text of the Quran. For example, Surah An-Nur, verse 26. Impure women are for impure men, and impure men are for impure women, and pure women are for pure men, and pure men are for pure women. Surah An-Nur, verse 33. And let those who do not find the means to marry keep chaste until God enriches them out of his bounty. Marriage in the Quran is only between a man and a woman, and it is commanded that a woman must wait 40 days after divorce or the death of her husband before remarrying. Conclusion. In summary, considering the rulings and the concise meaning of jihad I mentioned, along with the marriage laws and regulations, it is clear that Daesh exploited the name of Islam to commit atrocities similar to those committed by non-Muslims throughout history. If these principles are not followed, what remains of Islam? Muslims must keep their hands free from the blood of innocent people, according to the clear text of the Quran.